Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. Before this video starts, I want you all know that I now have an official Discord server. If you'd like to join, the link will be in the description below. In today's video, I'm going to be going over the best and worst things added in Fortnite Chapter 3. Starting off with the worst things added, we have the Ranger Assault Rifle. The Ranger Assault Rifle has been in the entirety of Chapter 3. It's just kind of a default AR, it doesn't really shoot too fast and doesn't do too much damage, and it's actually mainly given to bots that join the game. Every season I hope for this AR to be removed, and it still hasn't yet. I barely see anybody using this, and it's just kind of annoying to find now. Next up, we have the Charged SMG. The Charged SMG was added in Season 3, I believe, and it's basically this SMG that you could charge up and rapid fire bullets. You either love this gun or hate it, and I feel like most people never use this gun. You could only charge it up, and once you have it charged, you move extremely slowly, and once you start firing it, it's extremely hard to aim. Definitely one of the worst guns of this chapter. Next up, we have the Vault Balloons. They're currently in the season right now, and a lot of people love them for mobility. And while it is very good in that sense, a lot of people camp on top of them. This can be really annoying, as like the only gun that can reach up there is a sniper, and in no build, it kinda sucks. I hate people who abuse this, and I just can't wait for it to be removed. In Chapter 3 Season 1, Fortnite did an Uncharted collab, and while the skins came out really good, they actually added a mythic to the game. These were called Drake's Maps. A similar thing was added to Fortnite a while back, but when they added these to the game, it was just downright broken. Drake's Maps were supposed to be extremely hard to find, but instead you found them everywhere in floor loot. It's basically a map that leads you to a certain location where you could dig up a legendary chest. It would give you 2 legendary ARs and either 2 legendary shotguns or SMGs. If you were playing squads, there's no doubt that your entire squad would be kitted out with legendary loot. When these were added to the game, all the time at endgame, everybody had legendary loot and it was really broken. It wasn't fun anymore to open up a regular chest and find a legendary weapon. But something else that broke Fortnite for a bit was the drum gun. The drum gun isn't a new gun, but it was added back in Season 2. It's basically a shotgun that shoots way too fast for a shotgun. In Season 2, it was extremely scary to hear the drum gun off in the distance, because when you got attacked with someone with this, all the other shotguns in the game at that point would cancel out against this. It was by far the most overpowered shotgun added in Chapter 3. But another broken gun on our list is the goo gun. The goo gun was originally shown in the Season 4 trailer, but we didn't get it till mid-season. A lot of people thought this was going to be a really cool gun, but it ended up being really broken. It's basically this gun that shoots this kind of slimy goo stuff. Anything the goo hits, it explodes. So if you hit someone directly with this, they're pretty much gonna die. This was also broken if you had a lot of them, as you could just continuously switch between them. I don't see a lot of people using this gun anymore. I think people just got bored of it, but it was still very broken when they added it to the game. But Fortnite really disappointed us in Season 3 with Darth Vader's metal detector. When people saw that Darth Vader was going to be added to the battle pass, it was pretty common sense that his pickaxe would be a lightsaber. But instead we got this. This looked extremely disappointing and a lot of people didn't like it. But on top of that, Fortnite also disappointed us with No Sweat Summer. Every time Halloween, Christmas, and summer come to Fortnite, we get an event. This keeps the game more lively and a lot more fun. But this year's summer event was extremely disappointing, as we didn't even get an event. We had a bunch of stuff added by the Sanctuary that made us believe that this event was going to be incredible, like leaked files about skateboards when they added a skate park, or even a concert stage that was floating in the water. But all we got was some ice cream and crash pads. I'm not sure if Fortnite had something planned here and they just never got to it, but this was definitely very disappointing. In Season 2, the IO invaded the island with airships. Airships could be found floating above many POIs at the time, and they were extremely big. And while a lot of loot came with them, a lot of people camped on top of them and simply shot down at the POI below, which is a very similar example of the vault balloons, but this was way more broken, as each airship floated above a POI. So you kinda had to land on the airship if you didn't want to get beamed. When tanks were finally added to Fortnite in Season 2, players needed a quick way to take them down, and so Fortnite added the Anvil rocket launcher. Fortnite's added many different rocket launchers in their time, but this is by far the worst. This rocket launcher is specifically made to take down vehicles, and that's about it. It's made to lock on to any vehicle, and once you shoot it, it's going to take them down unless they go behind something. Once you fire it, the rocket would fly into the air and then rain down on the vehicle. But when players tried to use this against other players that weren't in vehicles, they found it to be extremely slow, as by the time the rocket came down to the ground, either you were dead or they were dead. So you really have to ask the question, are you willing to give up an entire slot in your inventory simply to take down a single vehicle. And that brings us to the worst thing added in Chapter 3, and that's the tanks. When we saw the tanks in the trailer, they looked insanely cool, but when they were actually added to the game, people were running away from them in terror. In the beginning of Season 2, building was removed and tanks were added. This was the worst combination ever, as there was pretty much nothing you could do if somebody attacked you with a tank. If you didn't have a squad backing you up, taking down a tank could be extremely hard. They used gas to fuel up, and they could even boost. And if you had another teammate, there was a turret on the top. Tanks were extremely broken in this season, and I'm so glad they're gone. Now moving over to the best things added in Chapter 3, we have the cow catcher. The cow catcher gave a whole new meaning to vehicles. You could attach them on the front of any car or truck, and it did a whole lot more damage when you hit players, making vehicles a meta in Chapter 3. They're also used a lot in no build as to block people from shooting at you, and I think this was a great addition to the game. It's crazy to think that Fortnite's most popular vehicle wasn't added to the game until this chapter. And yes, I'm talking about the battle bus. The battle bus has been the icon of Fortnite for years, and we always wondered what it would be like to actually drive it. And in Season 2, they made that happen. Drivable battle buses were added to the game with cow catchers on the front of them and turrets on the top. This was a similar thing to the tanks, but a lot less broken and a whole lot more hype. People loved it so much that they actually kept the battle bus for Season 3, although they got rid of the cow catcher on the front to make it less hostile. So just cruising around in a battle bus in Fortnite was kind of satisfying. But in Chapter 3, Fortnite let us decide how we got to play the game and what got added. These were called funding stations. They were added in Season 2, and you could use bars to vote for them. This way we could decide what we wanted in the game. So we voted on stuff like the 𝙏𝙬𝙜 being added back to the game, and even buildings added to Tilted. I think this was a really good way of us being involved in the making of Chapter 3. Even though Chapter 3 only lasted a year, it was jam-packed with all different sorts of collabs, like Spider-Man, Darth Vader, Uncharted, and Dragon Ball Z, along with a bunch of new Icon series skins we got. The collabs this chapter were extremely good, and I can't wait for the collabs in Chapter 4. Now the next one is very high up on our list, even though it was only added to the game for a couple of weeks, and I'm talking about 𝙏𝙬𝙜𝙨. 𝙏𝙬𝙜 was this dinosaur kind of looking creature that was added in Chapter 3 Season 1, and everybody instantly loved him. It was teased in trailers and Chapter 3 art, but 𝙏𝙬𝙜𝙨 wasn't added to the game until mid-season, and once the season ended, we never saw him again. In Season 2, we learned that they went into hibernation because the IO raided the island, but in Season 3, they didn't come back. In fact, we even found a 𝙏𝙬𝙜𝙨 skull on the island. This led us to believe the worst. Now currently in Season 4, 𝙏𝙬𝙜𝙨 still aren't added back to the game, so we're all praying to see them in Chapter 4. In Season 2, Fortnite started off by removing building from the game, the one mechanic that made them extremely popular. A lot of people were really mad about this because some players spent years perfecting their building only for it to be snatched away. But that only lasted for 2 weeks because no build actually became a game mode to the game. You could now choose between playing Fortnite build and no build. This brought a lot of old players back to the game and made the game a whole lot less sweaty. This next one is by far the best AR added in Chapter 3. And yes, I'm talking about the 𝙏𝙬𝙜𝙨. It was added in Season 1 and people absolutely loved it so much that they actually added it back in Season 2. It's a rapid fire AR that has a red dot sight. This made you extremely accurate, although it's been gone now for 2 seasons, so I'm wondering if we'll ever see the gun again. Even though Chapter 3 didn't last too long, we got 3 amazing mechanics added to the game: sliding, sprinting, and climbing. Sliding, added in Season 1, gave players a lot more mobility. It allowed people to dodge bullets more and get around quicker. But in Season 2, they added sprinting and mantling. You could now push your gun behind you and dash towards players. And on top of that, you could climb over walls like Uncharted. This gave Fortnite a whole more lively feel. But coming in at number 1, we have of course Spider-Man's mythic web shooters. It's no surprise that they were crowned the best mythic added to Fortnite because they were just incredible. Most mythics in Fortnite are weapons, but the web shooters were kind of just a better mobility. It allowed players to move around a whole lot quicker and easily take height. They were only added in Season 1, so if you didn't play that season, I really feel sorry for you, as they will never come back to the game. Well guys, that's gonna wrap things up for this video. Let me know in the comments what your favorite thing is about Chapter 3, and I'll see you in the next one.